Hello and thank you. Another wonderful Coaches Corner edition. Each and every week, we take the opportunity to spend time with college coaches around the country, all levels, all divisions. And one of the hotter topics in today's college baseball landscape is JUCO, junior college baseball. And I am honored today to be able to talk to a friend, someone who I personally know with regard to as a parent, his ability as a life mentor and obviously as a baseball coach. We're going to talk to national champion, national head coach of the year, and recent College Hall of Fame coach inductee, Jeff Willis of LSU Eunice. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
Walter, I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate everything you're doing for baseball, educating individuals about our game. And there's a lot of changes that are happening, and it seems like they're changing on the fly. And you wake up one day, and something's going to be different the next day. And so, as much information that we can get out to student athletes, to parents, I think the better our game goes.
Well, I really want to let parents understand that I feel that Coach Willis truly is going to be able to allow us a peek inside the world of junior college baseball as we know it today. A lot of parents have the misconception, a lot of student athletes have the misconception that JUCO is kind of like this fallback. If I don't get into Power Five or Division One or what have you, I'll go take a look at JUCO. Things are moving at a much faster pace. A lot of changes, not only within college baseball, but also at LSU Eunice. So, Coach, I would love for you to share these exciting changes. First and foremost is your move up to Division One junior college baseball, and the others are the exciting renovations going on at the LSU Eunice facilities.
Yeah, hey, we're incredibly excited about the move that we're making right now. What the difference is now we have the ability to offer full scholarships, and so our NJCAA bylaws state that if you're a Division One junior college, you can offer up to 24 full scholarships to the student athletes, and I think that will help us a lot. With already a TOPS program in our state with local kids, but also it'll allow us to branch out to other areas of our country because our goal is to bring the best student athletes that we can, makeup wise, ability wise, community wise, how they treat people, their work ethic, their attitude. Those are the individuals that we're looking for. And so we've always had a very, very talented group that's been on our field. And Walter, you know that with your son playing for us at that time. We've had a lot of good players that have come through here, and we're moving in a positive direction with having that ability to offer more scholarship money. And so it's exciting times for us right now.
And can you talk a little bit about the new renovations to your facility as far as your stadium project that's about to kick off here in the next week or so?
Yeah, so we're actually building in the process. We've been in about 3 years of a planning process of that. Our contract was awarded about a month ago, and we'll actually break ground next week on that facility. And we're actually taking our current facility right now and really knocking that down completely, changing the orientation of the field. Everything will be new, from the grandstand to the playing surface to the dugouts to the lighting structure to the locker room to the press box. We've got some luxury suites that are part of that will be a part of the next phase as well. And so we will have the nicest baseball facility in the junior college ranks on our campus. And so we're excited about that. The total price tag of all of the phases of that is roughly $16 million. And so we're excited about that. It's going to have an indoor developmental area for our players, which I think is a separator for a lot of different institutions. We were able to take our coaches and design that out for our pitching staffs, for our hitting, kind of in a lab type of setting. So that's a different scenario than a lot of junior colleges that are out there, or even a lot of four-year schools. So we're excited about the building of that, and I'm excited this next week. We've got bulldozers showing up, and I'm going to take out everything that we have right now and really start from scratch. And so we're moving in a tremendous direction right now. And I've always said, if you're not moving one way and you're standing still, you're going backwards. And we're moving in a positive direction in a lot of different fronts, and we need to continue to do that.
You're coming off of a national championship in 2024 And I think parents, student athletes, we're always looking at, moving forward. But let's take a brief look at your past. Can you talk a little bit about the quality and caliber of student athletes that have gone through the LSUE program and have gone on to SEC, professional baseball? I know several names, but I know you have a great list that you'd like to share with folks, because LSUE truly plays a vital role within all of college baseball, because you prepare these men on and off the diamond for their futures, both within college baseball and beyond.
Yeah, what we go and we go out and recruit, we're looking for several different things. We have to have talented players, that's a given. But we're also looking for individuals that have a blue collar mentality, that see the benefit of going to junior college and the developmental process that can happen there. There's a huge advantage by going to junior college. And my wife and I, we have two daughters. If I had a son and I had a choice what I was going to do with that son, I would be sending them to a junior college. Just there's multiple factors for that. One, you have a full fall that we can play, and so we can go from midpoint of August all the way through the midpoint of November, and we could have full team practices during that time. So we're not geared toward, or we're not by law part of the NCAA that requires a certain amount of hours for individual time and then only a certain amount of hours for team time. And so the at bats that the players can get by going to junior college is really another high school season. And there's no way that those student athletes can get those at bats, the innings pitched, if they head to that 4-year school in a fall setting. So the big separator between a junior college and the 4-year schools is really the two falls that you would have in those 2 years and the development that takes place from it. And so when you get around good players, and here's the other key, you're around players roughly your same age. You're not the 19-year-old, 18-year-old that all of a sudden got a 23-year-old and a fifth-year senior, or sometimes a sixth-year senior there that is so much bigger, so much stronger. Been in college all of those years, so mentally that individual is a lot further along than that freshman. And really, those older players don't have a lot to do with those younger players. And so I look up at our players and I look at the weddings they have, and these players have gone on from here and played at LSU and played at Ole Miss and played at A&M. They've played at all these schools. And I look at their wedding parties, and those wedding parties were their teammates when they were here. And they may have one from those other schools, but because they're so close in age, the developmental process is huge. They live together. Their roommates are teammates. Their neighbors are their teammates. And they're in a grind there every day. And their goal is to become the best baseball player that they can possibly become. And then you throw in the academic side of it. At our institution, our classes are no different class number wise than the classes that are over at LSU. So all of our classes are going to transfer to any university, whether it's an Ivy League school or Tulane or Vanderbilt, which we have players at all of those, or Rice or those high-end academic schools. Those classes are going to transfer into there. And so again, we've had a lot of good players through here. I know, Walter, some of those. We've had the SEC Player of the Year here that set the batting average record that still stands at LSU. He was here, played for us. He was our National Player of the Year, moved over to LSU, set their batting average record, was the SEC Player of the Year, Golden Spikes finalist, first team All-American. And we had a catcher here that won the Johnny Bench Award. That's the top catcher in all of college baseball. He was here and went and played at Ole Miss. And we've had a bunch of draft picks through the years, and we've moved on. We average anywhere from 15 to 18 players every year that are moving on to Division I baseball. And so it's a brand of baseball that a lot of people look at and say junior college, and they don't know what to expect. But it is our program is very detailed oriented, very organized, very efficient, and our goal is to develop the full human being. And I tell people all the time, it's not just about baseball. I want to see who you're going to be 10, 15, 20 years down the road when you're leading your own family. Those are the things that matter as well. And if you approach it like that, then the baseball player is going to come right there, and then that person's going to reach their full potential. And I think winning is not on a scoreboard. I don't think winning was how much money's in your pocket or how much power or fame you have. I think winning is taking your God-given ability and reaching your full potential in every single area of your life. And that classroom's a competition. You're receiving a grade. That's a competition, and a true winner wants to perform the best they can in every single endeavor of their life. And And we've seen that. We've seen that countless times. And I've been here for 22 years, and I see all these young people now that are raising their own families. And I look back and I say, our program has been successful because I see them now, not because we won a championship and we dogpiled at the end of the season.
Well, I know that both you and Alan are truly life mentors in every capacity, men of faith. You really, truly allow young teenage boys to become young men before you turn them over to Division I, Division II programs and 4-year programs across the country. What I would love for you to discuss is the time management skills that you and Alan both teach student athletes as they come and transfer from high school and begin to assimilate onto a college campus. Just talk about teaching these younger athletes how to manage their time, how to prepare their bodies, and how to kind of self-discipline themselves and be able to transfer their skill sets from high school to junior college and then on to a 4-year school beyond and after LSU Eunice.
Yeah, I think a lot of times there's individuals that they like things, but there's a difference between truly liking something and having a passion for something and
Right.
loving something. And so, when we have prospect camps here and you have all these kids show up, I go through what that daily schedule looks like for one of our student athletes, or what it would look like if you were at a Southeastern Conference school. Because I think a lot of times our student athletes only see the bright lights. They only saw what happened last week in Omaha when the players are playing on that stage. They did not see those kids that monitored their diet, that really monitored how much protein they were putting into their body. They monitor what they were doing in that weight room, because that weight room is a separator. You find out how dedicated somebody is with how much they want to get in that weight room, because they'll have a passion for going and hitting in the cages. They'll have a passion for taking ground balls, but do they have a passion for getting in the weight room because it's going to be the separator? Do they have a passion for monitoring what they're putting into their body and making sure the calories are right, making sure the protein is right? We tell our student athletes all the time, you better have a gram of protein per body weight. That your goal is, that's the goal that you want to get to. And a lot of times they look at, that's a lot of protein. Well, they got to figure out how to do that and get that into their body. And then the time management part, we're going to run our program here no different that would be run at a Southeastern Conference school, an ACC school, a Power 5 school. We're going to run it with professionalism. We're going to expect greatness, and we're going to expect a lot of our student athletes. We're going to have a lot of accountability, because I know this. At the end of the day, when I go to meet my maker, he's not going to ask me, did you teach that guy how to throw a slider? Did you teach that guy how to hit and run? Did you teach that guy how to go backside? No. It's going to be, I sent you all these young people, and what did you do with those young people? That's the question that's going to be posed to me and everybody out there. And hopefully, without a doubt, I'll be able to answer that with some clarity of, this is what happened. These are who these individuals are now. And so it's tough. A lot of times kids do not realize the grind of what it's going to take and what Tennessee accomplished, earlier in the week, and the grind that those student athletes went through that entire year, or A&M to be in that situation, or any team for that matter, at a high level of college baseball. It takes a lot, and it takes getting up early, whether you're in the weight room before class at 6:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, and you're going to class, and you got lunch, and then you may have early work, and then you've got practice, and then you've got study hall that night, and then you've got to get to the cafeteria to eat dinner, and then all of a sudden you've got maybe study hall after that, and then all of a sudden the next day happens again. It's the same thing. And so that's what I'm talking about. There's a difference between liking something and then having a true love and a passion for it. And you've got to have a true love and a true passion for it, because it's a full-time job. And I think a lot of kids have been conditioned to this country club mentality with the baseball that they're playing sometimes. And there is some really quality programs out there that are doing travel baseball and summer baseball and fall baseball. Some really quality ones out there. There's some quality individuals out there doing lessons with kids, and are doing it for the right reasons. But I challenge kids nowadays to find the individual that if you show up late to that lesson, that they may tell you something like, that's not going to work. That's not going to work in college. That's not going to work in real life when you go to get a job 10 years from now. Or does that individual not really say anything because they didn't have to work 5 extra minutes there? And what I mean by country club is you have someone that's a member of a country club and they want some tennis lessons. And so they go to the tennis pro that's a part of the country club, and he or she is 25 years old and probably played Division I tennis, and they have a real job, but on the side they do these tennis lessons and $100 an hour, and all of a sudden the old lady that's 65 years old, maybe that's not old because we're getting old as well. So she shows up and she's 5-10 minutes late. Well, the tennis pro is not going to say anything, and he's not going to tell her. She's going to tell her that you might need to hustle more, or you might need to work outside of this time that you're showing up here if you want to be the best tennis player that you can be, or you might need to lose some weight so you can move around quicker. Those conversations, it will all be self-esteem coaches. Great shot, good job, way to go. Nothing, basically what the person wants to hear, not what they need to hear. Because what's happening is if they tell them what they really know is the truth and what they need to hear, people don't like to hear that a lot of times, and they're scared that they're going to go down the block and take their money with them to go find somebody else that's going to tell them what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. And I think we got some of that going on. And so I challenge our student athletes, find someone that's not afraid to tell you some truth, that might get on you a little bit, because I can tell you when you get into college baseball and you get into a we type of environment, where schools, you see how much money is being spent at that Power 4 level now, and the contracts of coaches and the NIL stuff that's going to those student athletes. And if you don't perform with that kind of NIL money that you're getting, what do you think is going to happen with it? And so it becomes, you need this we mentality. If I'm a pitcher, I need that shortstop to make the play. I need that guy to get the 2-out hit for me, so that maybe overcome what my inning was the previous inning when I gave up a 2 spot because I walked a guy, hit a guy, and then they got a double in the gap and they scored 2 runs on me. And so this we mentality has to come to the forefront for those teams to win at a high level, to keep that entire enterprise going, because those Power 4 schools don't continue to bring in the revenue if they're not winning. They don't bring in the money that the NIL stuff. They don't bring in the money that's going to cost to run those programs. And they've got to win games. And the only way you're going to win games is if you have this we mentality, where you care more about the person next to you than your own self. And so those are some things that at any level, if you're going to have a high level of production, whether it's a team, whether it's an organization, whether it's a company, whatever it is, you've got to have this we mentality, and you've got to have this team mentality. And I think a lot of times right now, everybody's in it to what I'm going to get out of it.
Right.
That's not, I don't think that's enjoyable. I think there's a lot of pressure that's put on people when it's all about yourself and what am I going to get out of it. When if you eliminate that thought process and you really look around and say, I want to be the best teammate I can be, and I want to support the person next to me and care more about their success than my own, the pressure goes off of you, because now you're doing what's right. You're caring more about someone else, and you're selfless because of that. And guess what? Now you deserve to have something good happen to you. You deserve to succeed. You deserve to win. You deserve to have a lot of good things happen, just because your mind is right and your high level of care is right is more for more individuals than yourself.
You have absolutely encapsulated every single thing I try to tell parents is, once your student athlete becomes a very happy person for his teammates, good things will begin to happen for him. And I'm so glad that you were able to kind of illustrate that point. And what I would love for you to explain to both athletes and families is the margin of, the difference between a starter and a reserve at LSU Eunice is really small. The margin of talent is not the only thing you're evaluating when you're out looking at a student athlete. Can you kind of share some examples of athletes, their expectations coming from high school or travel baseball is, hey, I've been a starter everywhere I go, therefore I'm probably going to start for you. What's the separators in your mind, or you and Alan combined, with regard to what gets a player between the lines? What are some of the differences that you feel physical maturation, mental maturation begin to take athletes to their highest levels and get them between the lines?
I think a lot of it is what we kind of already mentioned with what's the thought process around the weight room. Are they going in the weight room and the reps that they're doing, are they just completing a set and it really wasn't a struggle for those last two reps, or all of a sudden it's a very hard struggle for those last two reps because they're trying to move as much weight as they can to be able to get as strong as they possibly can. Again, that's a separator. I think when you have two athletes that are equal talent wise, the teammate part of it is a huge part of it, because there's a level of positivity about that person and the aura about that person that when they care about the team, that's a true leader that's in and of themselves. Whereas the other person, if it's just me, they're kind of in their shell, and people see that. And I think to live a life of happiness, you have to deserve to do well, or you have to deserve to succeed. And because now everyone's looking for controllables. Our confidence is controllable, because if we're prepared for something and we're selfless, we're confident in that moment. And then there's another piece of that. You got to know the big man upstairs has got your back. When you know those things, you have a high level of confidence. And so when I see individuals that lack confidence, there's something going on. Whether they're not prepared, are they slacking in the classroom? Are they slacking in the weight room? And the only person that knows that is the person that's looking back at you in the mirror. Like, you can fool a lot of people, but the person you're looking at in the mirror, you can't fool. And we talk about it all the time, that there's an accountability mirror there. And there's going to be some times that you've got to look in that accountability mirror and you got to tell yourself, I got to do better. I got to work harder. My attitude's got to be better. I got to quit being soft right now. I've got to have that conversation with myself from time to time. And we all do. I do. You do, Walter. All of us have to have a wake-up call from time to time. And we need to be surrounded by people that will do that for us as well. I truly believe we all need an accountability group that holds us accountable. And I think student athletes need that as well. And the only way that that's going to happen is if you're a good teammate. If you're not a good teammate, you're gonna be isolated. You're gonna be over there, and it's gonna be miserable for you, because you've shown that you don't give a flip about the person next to you. So why should they? And those people that are team oriented will try to bring that person in, but over a certain amount of time, it's like that person doesn't. It's all about themselves, and that's not an enjoyable way to live. You can't have a family that's gonna thrive with that thought process. You can't have a team, an organization, a company, any of those people that are going to thrive with those mindsets. And so it's when you got two athletes that you're looking at talent wise, okay, there's got the confidence thing's huge. And I'm a huge proponent of body language. Body language screams what's going on. And as a coach, it's my job to figure out who's confident, who's not, and to watch that body language and watch a heart rate and watch a breathing rate in different situations. And so, you're trying to figure out who has confidence, who has worked hard. But a lot of times you only have two eyes, or your coaching staff have two eyes, but your team has a bunch of sets of eyes. And I think when you can develop a culture of a team that wants to have a high level of deserving to win, they start to police themselves. They police themselves. And there's times I'll come out to practice and somebody's doing something and I don't know why they're doing it. And one of the guys will say, they missed class. We can't miss class and deserve to win. That just doesn't equate for you to deserve to succeed if you can't do what's required for you to be as successful as you could possibly be. And so it's just taking all that in, and you've got to teach as well. Some kids don't know those things. And so they may have not been raised in that environment. And so as a coach, it's your obligation to take those individuals and surround them by people that know that information. And let's get that person on the right train as well, because that person could be the next Willie Mays, or that person could be the next Mark McGuire, or whoever, Major League Baseball. But they need some direction of where they've been and what they've been doing by other individuals that have done it before.
So, I know parents and student athletes are going to want to know, how do they get in front of Coach Willis or Dane? How do you as a staff Is it a video? Is it an email introduction? How do you like to be contacted? And obviously, you're moving up now into a higher level of JUCO baseball. You have some scholarships that are now more available for you. Where do you want these athletes to send? Is it email with video, email, video, and transcripts? How do you want to be
Yeah.
contacted as a staff?
Yeah, the email is the best with some video. A lot of times it's easy for us to get out in our state or into East Texas or into Mississippi. But when we get out of that, the email, video were there, references as well. If there's professional scouts that seen that individual play, or individuals that we know that we would trust in that. I think a lot of times kids will send direct messages on Twitter or social media. I'm telling you, that is we get bombarded by that, and that is a tough thing to navigate when all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and all of a sudden you got 50 direct messages, and it's like, how do I even get through this? And you don't know who that individual is, and they all kind of say the same thing. I think the email, because you can attach some video through that, to be able to kind of let us decipher that. I know you can do that via Twitter, but you have a lot of you need what I take when I see something on Twitter. They come across something real quick, and because we're so in the moment and we want something right here and right now, boom, they'll send something really, really quick without really researching what is that school about and things of that nature. So the email, all of a sudden, you've got to sit down. You've got to take a little bit of time. I don't like to see emails that have been sent to 50 other people either. That email that is sent directly, that has some research about our program and what has been done. Now it tells me that individual's serious about it. And then when you can show some metrics in there, I mean, the best thing where we're at right now is, especially with the pitchers, when you can all of a sudden show, velo's always been something, but when you can show spin rates and you can show vertical break, you can show some horizontal break, you can show some things like that, some metrics that you can gather off of TrackMan or Rapsodos, that helps a lot. Because I've seen guys that throw hard and those spin rates are not very good. So that fastball is really, really flat. And that ball's not moving very much. And so there's things in that regard that can get some people's attention. But again, it's got to be truthful, because again, we get stuff from time to time that the velos say this, and then when we start to research, or we get there ourselves to see it, we're 5-6 miles an hour off. And that's discouraging, because right away when you put something, it shouldn't be what your top velo was. You can put, hey, I've topped at this thing, but this is my range of my fastball in this. And we don't want to show up and all of a sudden that's 6-7 miles an hour off, because right then we're like, how do we trust this? This is the first correspondence we had, and this is not correct in this. And really, it needs to be in a game setting, because a lot of people can go onto a bullpen setting and it's way different. Or they go inside and they're throwing a bullpen setting and there's no hitter in that box. There's no umpire. There's no people in the stands that are going. And that person's just blowing it out then. And then you get them in a game setting and, it's a lot different there. Because now you really got to throw it over the 17 inches or the walkathon starts happening. And
the spray and pray effect. That's what I call it. They just spraying it everywhere and praying it gets somewhere as somebody swings at it. Well, Jeff, I also want to tell parents, in the baseball blue book, you can look up LSU Eunice. Coach Willis will be in there. All the contact information for LSU Eunice. Go ahead and make sure you download the baseball blue book app, new and improved, in your Apple or Google Play Store, App Store. Jeff, thank you so much for taking the time. I am truly honored and excited for your future endeavor within Division I level of JUCO baseball. I know the stadium's going to be absolutely beautiful when it's completed. And, of course, anything and everything that I can ever do for you, please do not hesitate to reach out.
Walter, I appreciate it. And the other thing, we're still recruiting. So, again, thanks for having me on today. I appreciate what you're doing. Appreciate your family as well. But thanks again.